The modern American worker finds themselves trapped in a psychological paradox where a hard-earned 3% raise feels less like a victory and more like a hollow gesture in an increasingly demanding economic landscape. As inflation relentlessly erodes purchasing power, the extra digits in a paycheck are immediately swallowed by the escalating costs of essential goods like fuel and groceries, leaving little room for any genuine financial growth. This phenomenon creates a pervasive sense of financial agitation, as the consumer realizes that their nominal income growth is being outpaced by the rising cost of living, rendering their hard work feel entirely futile. The disconnect between perceived wealth and actual economic reality is the primary driver of the current consumer sentiment crisis, leaving many families questioning the very foundation of their long-term financial stability and security. As households tighten their budgets to compensate for these invisible losses, the traditional spending patterns that once fueled the economy begin to fracture under the weight of mounting pressure and constant fiscal anxiety today. The frustration is not merely a reaction to prices, but a fundamental shift in how individuals perceive their own economic stability and future security in an increasingly volatile market that offers no clear respite. Every trip to the grocery store serves as a stark reminder that their salary increases are illusory. They watch as the numbers on the receipt climb higher, effectively canceling out any modest gains achieved. This cycle of stagnation forces a deep reevaluation of personal priorities and long-term financial planning for everyone. The promise of upward mobility feels like a distant memory, replaced by the daily grind of survival. Workers navigate this landscape with a growing sense of cynicism, doubting the efficacy of their professional efforts. The psychological toll of this paradox is immense, impacting mental health and overall job satisfaction across industries. As the cost of essential services continues to climb, the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. Families are forced to make difficult choices, sacrificing quality of life to maintain basic household operational needs. The illusion of the raise acts as a cruel mirage, promising relief but delivering only further stress. This systemic issue highlights the fragility of the modern middle class as they struggle to stay afloat. Economic experts observe this trend with concern, noting that the traditional metrics of success are failing now. The narrative of progress is being challenged by the harsh reality of stagnant wages and rising costs. Individuals feel trapped in a loop where their labor is devalued by forces beyond their direct control. This realization sparks a shift in consumer behavior, moving away from discretionary spending toward absolute essential needs. The economy reflects this internal struggle, as the collective confidence of the workforce continues to erode daily. Without a fundamental change in economic policy, this cycle of frustration will likely persist for many years. The worker remains the primary victim of this disconnect, constantly running just to stand in one place. Their efforts are swallowed by inflation, leaving them with the same purchasing power as they had before. This is the reality of the modern worker, defined by the struggle against an invisible, relentless tide. The promise of a raise is merely a distraction from the underlying erosion of their financial health. They look for stability, but find only volatility, creating a sense of unease that permeates every decision. The market responds to this sentiment as businesses struggle to understand why their traditional strategies are failing. It is a crisis of confidence, rooted in the failure of wages to keep pace with reality. The worker is left to navigate this complex web, hoping for a breakthrough that never quite arrives. Every paycheck becomes a source of stress rather than a reward for their hard work and dedication. This systemic failure is the defining challenge of our time, impacting the lives of millions of people. They dream of a better future, but the current economic climate makes that dream feel increasingly unreachable. The cycle continues, fueled by the relentless pressure of inflation and the stagnation of real wage growth. Workers are left to wonder if the system is designed to keep them in this perpetual state. The frustration is palpable, manifesting in a shift toward more cautious and defensive financial habits every day. They prioritize security over growth, knowing that one wrong move could lead to significant financial hardship soon. The economic landscape is shifting beneath their feet, leaving them to adapt to a new, harsher reality. This is the paradox of the modern worker, caught between the desire for progress and the reality. They strive for more, but the system ensures that they receive only the bare minimum of survival. The illusion of the raise is the ultimate test of their resilience in a changing global economy. They must find new ways to cope, seeking value in every transaction to stretch their limited resources. The struggle is real, and it is shaping the future of the entire American economic landscape today. As the gap between income and expenses widens, the pressure on the average household becomes truly unbearable. They look for solutions, but the answers are elusive in a market that prioritizes profit over people. The worker is the backbone of the economy, yet they are the ones suffering the most now. Their frustration is a warning sign, indicating that the current model is unsustainable in the long term. The time for change is approaching, as the collective voice of the workforce grows louder and stronger. They demand transparency and fairness, seeking a system that truly rewards their hard work and dedication daily. The illusion must be shattered, replaced by a reality that recognizes the true value of their labor. Until then, the struggle continues, with the worker at the center of this complex and difficult paradox. They remain hopeful, despite the challenges, believing that a better future is possible for everyone involved now. The journey is long and difficult, but they persist, driven by the need for stability and security. This is the story of the modern worker, caught in the illusion of the raise and struggling. As households tighten their budgets, this widespread consumer dissatisfaction triggers a significant shift in market dynamics. Analysts now observe what they call demand destruction within the once thriving high-end retail sector. Shoppers prioritize basic survival over luxury, causing premium brands to face a sharp decline in revenue. Meanwhile, companies that offer more value for price, often called MVP names, begin to dominate. The retail landscape shifts rapidly as consumers abandon status symbols in favor of essential, affordable goods. Investors must look past the superficial metrics of nominal wage growth to understand the true picture. Focusing instead on real wages is the only way to accurately assess the health of stocks. The psychology of the American consumer is now firmly tethered to the relentless hunt for value. This behavior forces businesses to adapt their models immediately, or risk facing total market obsolescence today. Companies that fail to provide tangible utility at a lower cost are quickly discarded by shoppers. By recognizing that this current madness is a rational response to immense economic pressure, investors succeed. Savvy investors can pivot their portfolios toward companies that provide essential utility at a lower cost. These resilient businesses thrive because they align perfectly with the new, cautious mindset of the public. Ultimately, the market reflects the collective struggle of a population trying to navigate a difficult world. It is a world where a hard-earned raise is no longer viewed as a genuine reward. The disconnect between effort and financial security has fundamentally altered the way people approach their spending. Every transaction now carries the weight of a decision between maintaining a lifestyle or ensuring survival. Retailers that ignore this shift in consumer sentiment will find themselves left behind by the market. The era of unchecked luxury spending is faded, replaced by a cold, calculating focus on utility. Investors who understand this transition will find opportunities hidden within the wreckage of traditional retail models. The data confirms that value-oriented companies are the only ones showing consistent growth in this climate. As inflation persists, the demand for affordable alternatives will only continue to strengthen and expand further. Consumers are not just buying products, they are buying peace of mind in an uncertain economy. This shift is not temporary, but a permanent recalibration of how the average household manages wealth. The illusion of the raise has been shattered, leaving behind a reality defined by pragmatic financial choices. Every dollar spent is now a testament to the necessity of finding value in every purchase. The market is a mirror reflecting the anxieties and the strategic adjustments of the American worker. Those who adapt to this new reality will define the future of the retail investment landscape. It is a landscape where survival and value are the only metrics that truly matter anymore. The cycle of frustration continues, but the savvy observer sees the path toward long-term economic stability. Inflation acts as a silent tax, eroding the purchasing power that a nominal raise once promised. Families find themselves running faster on the treadmill just to stay in the exact same place. This creates a psychological feedback loop, where every price hike feels like a personal, targeted attack. Retailers that fail to acknowledge this deep-seated resentment will struggle to maintain their brand loyalty long-term. The modern consumer is now a data-driven agent, constantly comparing unit prices across multiple different platforms. Loyalty programs are no longer enough to keep customers tethered to brands that ignore inflation realities. Instead, Shoppers seek out the MVP retailers that prioritize transparent pricing and consistent, reliable product value. This transition forces a reckoning for legacy retail chains that rely on outdated, high-margin business models. Market analysts are watching these trends closely to identify which firms will survive the coming contraction. Success in this environment requires a fundamental pivot toward efficiency, scale, and extreme cost consciousness for consumers. The gap between the wealthy and the working class continues to widen under these inflationary pressures. Retailers that cater to the middle market squeeze are finding themselves in a surprisingly strong competitive position. It is not merely about being cheap, it is about providing essential value in a volatile world. Investors who ignore these shifts in consumer behavior are essentially betting against the laws of economics. The narrative of the American dream is being rewritten through the lens of strict, necessary household budgeting. Every grocery trip becomes a tactical operation designed to maximize utility while minimizing the total financial output. This behavior is not a temporary phase, but a structural change in how the economy functions daily. Retail stocks that fail to adapt to this new reality will likely face a long, painful decline. Conversely, those that embrace the value-oriented model will capture the lion's share of the remaining market. The psychological toll of this wage gap creates a permanent shift in how households view their money. Financial security is now defined by the ability to stretch a paycheck across an entire month. This mindset dictates the success of every retail brand operating in the current, challenging economic climate. Investors must look beyond the surface to see the underlying currents of this massive consumer shift. The future of retail belongs to those who can solve the equation of value for everyone. As the dust settles on these market changes, only the most efficient players will remain standing tall. The era of excess is over, giving way to an era of intense, calculated, and necessary frugality. Understanding this transition is the key to unlocking hidden value within the volatile retail stock market. The consumer is not mad without reason. They are responding to the cold, hard math of survival. By aligning with this reality, investors can navigate the storm and find sustainable growth for portfolios. This is the new economic paradigm where value is the only currency that truly commands respect.